Hello, friends. Welcome to our beautiful and very educational show interview discussion today. I'm your host, Amy Chilson, and I get to introduce my very dear friend of 18 years, Susanna Furlanic. Thank you, Susanna, for sharing your knowledge, dedication, and passion about lymphology and how people can educate themselves and keep a really healthy lymphatic system the rest of their lives, and which is something that I'm really interested in learning and fascinated about. And I want to say welcome to everyone joining this discussion. Really, we are both discussing what we're so interested in learning about for ourselves and practicing, and as well as our friends, family, and everyone that happens to see this on our social platforms. So welcome. And Susanna, I would love to hear the journey of how you've become an expert and so knowledgeable about lymphology.
Well, thank you, Amy. I'm really happy to be here and share this. I feel it's such a misunderstood, uneducated aspect of ourselves, which I'm really happy to see it coming more into the forefront. Just like gut health, just years ago, gut health wasn't even something that we talked about. And then all of a sudden it's everywhere because people have a higher understanding of the importance of having, gut health. So for the last 20 years, I have been a mentor, business growth strategist with companies, and a long, passionate seeker of natural health. So I've been an advocate of truly understanding, how the body works and optimizing it with natural solutions. Like, what can we do in a very simplistic way to live, look, feel better longer, more longevity, sort of in that direction. So 13 years ago, I was introduced to the son of a man called, a doctor called Samuel C. West. And Samuel C. West was an expert. His whole life was dedicated to the understanding of the causes of all diseases. And he really pointed in the direction of the lymphatic system and the cells. And matter of fact, he was a Nobel Prize nominee for his work. And he was a chemist, a lymphologist, and he really wanted to get this knowledge out to the world. I mean, he had, three people that I can stand out that were students of his was Tony Robbins, was a student of his. Tony's into optimal health, top state, Um, Wayne Dyer, the late Wayne Dyer, studied from him. And also, there was a Will Green, the founder of the International Massage Association. He was one of the first people to make $1 million as a masseur, as a massage therapist. Um, and so his son, after his passing, his son took on his life work and started offering these lymphatic certifications. And so my husband and I got certified in lymphology. And the one thing we know about our lymphatic system is it's so critical to our well-being that if we didn't have it, we'd be dead in 24 hours.
Right.
So it's so necessary for our, its role into our health is that it detoxifies our body and it aids in our immune system. So balancing and keeping optimal immune system. And so there's various ways, that you can keep it, optimal. And I think that's what we're going to talk about. But I've been, looking in this direction for a long time and looking for different ways to help people, point them in the direction of having natural solutions to keeping optimal health.
Mhm. Beautiful. I know both of us have had quite a passion. I don't know how many years now, back to, I would say, at least 2008, 2009, in anti aging, inside and out. It's the whole holistic package, isn't it?
It certainly is, and it just really means that it's just really understanding and educating, self educating understanding the how the body works and its role. So like just like the gut health now is at the forefront, I believe lymphatic system, understanding how to promote health through it, and aid in its optimal function is going to be the forefront in the next few years. I truly believe that. So the more that we look in the direction of natural solutions away from the prescription and those sort of things, because people really want to feel better. And as we age, what's on my mind, especially just turning 50 recently, is like how
You
long.
don't look like 50 at all. You
Thank
look like
you.
you're in your 30s. You
Thank
look
you.
awesome, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, well, it's a testament to just having that pure intention of, I've never had Botox. I've never had, any of those things, any third party type aids, other than anything that's more natural. People will say, oh, it must be genetic. Well, I wish they saw a picture of me, when I was 29, when I was, discolored skin and blemishes and all, and I was not going in the direction, and I had not run into the information that I know now that led me down a more path of, wellness and health and all those things. So yeah, so I think this is good information that we're about to put out.
Well, let's imagine that our audience, or even just me, I'm like a newbie to Lymphology 101. Like, what can you tell us some general information that I would say a lot of people may not know about our lymphatic system?
Yeah, for sure. So lymphatic is actually, if you look at a map, and I can bring up a map, but it's literally we have lymph all over our bodies. And when we're starting to detoxify the body's role, and the body is an exquisite machine. We're born with a beautiful machine that beats its own heart, has circulatory system. I mean, we have decades and hundreds of years where humans are studying the exquisiteness of the human body and how it functions. So the lymphatic system, part of being of this exquisite design, is aiding us in detoxifying. So, lifestyle, just the environment, things that get into our, system, it's helping us protect by, you know, releasing toxins through the urine, the sweat, and those sort of things. Now, like our blood is, we have oxygen that's going through our circulatory system, and the blood has a pump, and the pump is our heart. It's actually our lungs that help pump oxygen. When you breathe, you're actually helping that circulatory system. The lymph we probably have more lymph than we do have serum, blood serum, believe it or not. So,
Hmm.
and but the difference is that the lymph does not have a pump. Okay, so it needs to be aided in that direction to pump it out. And so how it pumps out is through muscle contraction. So, or stimulation, some form of stimulation where you're contracting.
Okay.
And you could do different things, exercises and things that we'll get into. But if we don't stimulate the lymphatic, then we start to run into issues later on. We'll talk about what those issues can be.
Okay. And we don't want those issues.
I don't think so.
Well, when we
I
see some
doubt
of our
it.
friends and family, like I have friends and family that have obvious suffering and chronic pain and problems from, you can tell, the clogged lymphatic system. And as we of course want them to be alleviated from that suffering, but also genetically you don't want to be in line and follow suit. So how do we educate ourselves about these problems so we can come up with the solutions?
Exactly. Yeah. So what we can, so some of the symptoms of having a sluggish lymphatic system, and most people won't know that they have a sluggish lymphatic system until their body starts to express itself in different forms, like For example, armpit or odor is an example of a sluggish because toxins are trying to come out and they're pulling up. And we have a lot of lymph below the armpit area. That's a sign. Swelling in the abdomen, the lower legs, neck, even bat wings.
In the leg.
Even
Oh
bat.
yeah, bat wings. Yep.
Yeah, that's a
What
sign of.
about cellulite?
Mhm.
Cellulite also an indication of poor lymphatic
Absolutely.
drainage. Okay.
Cellulite is a form of swollen lymph. Actually, this lymph nodes can carry, a lot of liquid in it. A lot of this liquid that's forming, it's pulling up. And think of it like a lake that's just still, and it's starting to accumulate all this bacteria and algae and all this stillness, and it starts to get toxic.
Yep.
So it needs a stream of energy to push it through, to make it go through to the ocean. So it releases it and create fresh water. So other things that also, so by the time someone is starting to recognize these bodily symptoms, they're, they have a clogged system. They have a sluggish system. Waking is another just having the extra bloatedness, water retention, um, like you said, cellulite, pain, inflammation, chronic pain, sometimes joints.
Yep.
So yeah, so by that time, you've got a sluggish lymphatic system. So we can talk about how do we can, maintain an optimal lymphatic system. If you
Before we do that, can I say what happens for um like our wonderful friends and family that, let's say that they are exhibiting those in symptoms of a clogged lymphatic system now, and they don't do anything about it. So I kind of want to go the negative, like what's the worst that they can anticipate, because then we can get into, well, all the different ways that we can solve it naturally. I would like to know what's the worst that's going to happen for people if they don't make any changes.
Yeah, so when someone's dealing with inflammation, so which is one of the expressions of clog lymphatic, they start to think, try to compare their experience with what they know or think they know. That might be, so they go to the doctor or they try to figure out, like, do I have rheumatoid arthritis? What is causing this inflammation? Now, there's other things that can be causing that. It could be lack of antioxidants because you're looking for ways to create anti-inflammation. So lifestyle choices and things like that. But people will then start to wonder, like, I have this pain, so I need to go talk to my doctor. I need to figure out. And of course, the doctor's going to prescribe something that's anti-inflammatory. It's usually SAID, which is like a heavy Motrin or ibuprofen, acetaminophen that's just really hard on the liver and the kidneys. Anti, something that's going to relax the muscle. So, but that is just masking a root cause. And what I love about, while we're starting to wake up to this understanding about our lymphatic system, we can, one, prevent going in that direction, and then two, if we are in that state, there's ways, very simple ways to remedy it without
Reverse,
all
yeah.
of the other stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's got to bring a lot of people hope right there, especially if, like for me, seeing so many friends, family, just general populace, people in the Western world, particularly in the Western world, suffering from inflammation and all the different iterations of how that shows up. So to me, it's like a red flag to not go in that direction. So I'm in the other camp, which is I don't want to have any of those problems. So I'm in the preemptive camp. And I know a lot of people are too. So we want to stay as young and healthy and vibrant without any of these medical conditions or health conditions and chronic pain developing over time. So, yeah, this is a
Yeah.
very powerful message for two types of audiences here.
Yeah. And also the other thing, we also see people more in the older range, 50, 60, 70, 60, 70, 80s, is just they just think, well, this is just part of being older. This is part of my body breaking down. It's part of aging, which is just a paradigm in itself of thinking. That's what it is. It's completely the opposite. The body is very sophisticated and complex, but it's also very simple. We're made of very simple, chemistry components: oxygen, carbon. It's very simple. We could do natural remedies to maintain, a healthy body, so that we can feel better, so we can live a little longer and have better longevity versus aging and then having to deal with preventable symptoms that can be, dealt with early on.
Well, what are some of those natural solutions and remedies that people can do, whether they're experiencing those symptoms now or they don't want to ever experience them?
Well, aside from, I'm also in the I also like supplementation, looking at, ways to increase your anti-inflammatory expression. So, and antioxidants like foods and vegetables and things like that, that people can look in the direction of, what can I do to, eliminate things that cause inflammation in the first place? What I do in terms of dietary lifestyle, and then look in the direction of anti-inflammatory foods, vegetables, vitamin C's, things like that. But from a physical level, where how do we unclog a lymphatic system? Because if you're feeling sluggish, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling bloated, especially women who are still, working through their menstrual cycle years, you get bloated. That's part of lymphatic. It's actually, yeah. So in the East, in Asian cultures, they're huge on a simple thing they can do is dry brushing. They're huge on dry brushing. You just take a brush and just dry brush um, around the body, around the armpit area, where there's a lot of lymph around the armpit area, the groin area. Up here near the neck, there's a lot of lymph. Um, that's one thing you can do. Exercising, muscle contraction. So when you're running, you're contracting those muscle in the calves, your quads, and you're running, you're exercising, or just lifting weights and things like that. Things that are causing the muscle to contract. Another favorite of mine that I love for lymphatic detoxifying is simply getting on a rebounder, like a small mini rebounder that you can take 15 minutes out of your morning or during the day. One, it raises your energy, but two, 15 minutes on the rebounder is equivalent to a 45-minute, run or jog. And so just the rebounding itself is causing, when you're jumping up to the top, you have more of this expression of release of these toxins.
Yes.
That's another way to do it. Professional massages, there are a lot of people out there, a lot of professionals that are in the lymphatic massage, health and wellness profession. And so people can douse out a few $100s to go get a professional massage. Matter of fact, when a woman is dealing with breast cancer, when they're going through chemotherapy or they've gotten through chemotherapy, they are actually recommended by the doctor to go get their lymphatic massaged, because it helps aid in releasing the chemicals that are being pumped through them. Um, so it's really important. And then there's what I'm really excited about, which I became aware of over the last, 9 months, is a new technology. It's very simple, but it was simply designed to aid somebody who's young and healthy, and also somebody who's sedentary, to help aid the body in releasing and purifying and detoxifying the body in a very, very simplistic, in a very quick way, which is I'm really excited about.
I would love to learn more about that. I'm a hiker, a runner, a walker. Today I did 2 hours of tap dancing, so I feel like I'm moving my lymphatic system. But I'm interested in what you have to tell me about this innovation, this new technology.
Yeah, so it was just recently in the United States approved by the FDA. And what I found fascinating with it does help somebody, massage through all of the lymphatic areas, but it's also got a microcurrent feature to it, and it has these sensors built into and engineered into the device where it becomes this smart device. And so it's actually measuring over 85 times a second, measuring your skin resistance. It's measuring your the water, the hydration levels, muscle tissue, skin tissue, fat tissue, just very various data points of your body, and then it's adjusting these micro frequencies, adjusting all the time. So what you might need under your armpit area, it might be different in your thigh area, your stomach, and all those sort of things. So it's actually treating the body, or it's giving the body a customized treatment based on the reading it's getting, which is really fascinating because most frequency based machines out there. I haven't even found one yet. But if they're frequency based, one, there's a learning curve.
Right?
So the user has to learn how to use it. And then two, they're really expensive.
Mm.
And then so what ends up happening is the user tends to abandon the product. So what I loved about this new device is that it's super simple to use, just one button to push, and then the whole thing does the rest. And you can literally see on an app that it's connected to an app if you want. You don't have to, but when you do, you can actually see the microcurrent wave technology happening at real time. So it's measuring the body with the microcurrent technology. You get actually a twofold deal with it, which is I really love being a woman, because when you have a sluggish lymphatic and it comes with cellulite, you're also treating the cellulite. So when you're massaging the body or the thigh area, for example, you can actually see. Um, I've been getting more feedback from women using it, and I'm seeing the differences between a thigh that looks like it's 65, 70 years old versus a thigh that is looking 30 years old with no cellulite, and it's the same individual.
Right. That's
It's
some pretty
crazy.
powerful before and after pictures.
Yeah.
After how long does someone have to use this device to even get results like that? Just for cellulite alone.
Yeah. So, well, I'm going to base it on the clinical trials that were performed to get those results that I saw, and it was over a 12-week period. It was little as 3 times a week for 3 minutes, so 3 minutes per thigh or body part,
Mm.
and then they were using
Yeah, that way.
specifics.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, specific serums that worked into the skin that were designed, and these ingredients are natural. These are plant based. They are found to help the skin detox and promote anti-aging properties and things like that. So there's a concert being with the device and the serums that are being used on the body, which is fascinating to
Yeah.
have those results in as little as 3 minutes per treatment over 3 times. So it's not taking a lot of time. And then in 12 weeks, I mean, the difference is we can do another session on just to show people
I would
the
love that.
the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, powerful pictures. I saw a video you made, and I'm going to put it up on my website today with this video link to it. And you had some friends over for Christmas, I think it was, because I heard Christmas carols in the background. There
Yeah.
was one gentleman that said he had scoliosis and he couldn't stand up without leaning on something. Or, I mean, this sounds to me like, I mean, it's very, very powerful, helping real medical conditions.
Yeah. So under FDA compliance, we can't say that it cures anything. It doesn't, but it does aid if you understand the lymphatic and somebody's having anti or inflammation in those areas. So this friend of mine that came over my home, and this has been a fascinating journey in itself because I'm always discovering, well, can I do this? Can I do that? Somebody's dealing with arm, shoulder issues. And this is a dear friend of ours we've known for a really long time. And he's always had back, he's a bodybuilder, used to be one. And so he has a lot of issues with his low back. And he used to say, nothing ever works on me. He goes to these therapists, chiropractors. He's had a lot of, sessions done with different devices on his back. Nothing ever hurts. He's like, I have scoliosis. I have 6 bulging discs. I have bone spurs, 8 bone spurs, and so forth. And I'm like, well, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I had it with me. And I said, well, let's just spend a few minutes and see what happens because I really don't know. But what I do know is from studying, the lymphatic system 13 years ago, was when there's pain, there's more than likely a stuck lymph that's causing this inflammation. So when you're massaging the lymph fluid out in the direction where it's supposed to go to aid in that release, then it softens the muscle, softens, and then it reduces that symptom of pain. So there's some release and relief going on there, that which can happen. So you'll see it on their website, but I literally took 5 minutes to work on the low back. And what he used to say, what he said was, with my issues, I can't stand more than a minute without having to lean on something like a wall in order to feel less tension on my low back. He says he after the 5 minutes, he was standing for 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes and he was still freestanding without having to lean on something. She's like, wow, that's unexpected, which I
Yeah.
thought was a big wow for me.
Great experiment. I would imagine like you can do this to people in their necks because a lot of people get the sore neck from like staring down or staring at something, right?
We all, if you have a cell phone, you're more than likely doing this a lot. And
Mhm.
or if you're sitting in a desk where you're on the computer, um, if you're a mom, you're stressed out, you're going to carry, and I do carry a lot of stress on the shoulder area. This trap is so when I first got this device, the first thing I went to was on my shoulders, just because of the tension. And I remember doing the one shoulder, and I remember walking into the other room where my husband was, and he said I looked like this.
Oh my goodness. I wish I had a video of that, Susanna.
I'm like, because it felt like
A
a
hunchback of
muscle
Notre
that
Dame.
just, yeah, it just like completely relaxed. I'm not sure. I
Like,
mean,
did it feel good?
it,
Process
it
felt good?
felt. It didn't feel like there was like massage where somebody's pressing on it. It felt like a energetic like release, like the muscle responded to this energy and it released itself, which was very interesting. I can feel going down my arm, because it's promoting circulation. So it's drawing blood to the surface, promoting circulation, and because of the microcurrent and electrical current, which is very comfortable, by the way. So if anybody's wondering, like it's discomforting, it's actually a very comfortable experience. And so when he did the other one, he said like this whole area was just completely released. He took a photo before and after. It was interesting to see. So it feels really nice, like you have a natural professional
I can't
massage.
wait to do it all over. And you can do it as often as you'd like, right? Oh, I had a question for you. Like for my mom, and I know that there's a lot of other friends and family members in her age group in the 70s that have a lot of swollen ankles, edema, fluid buildup. Are you seeing this alleviate that for those symptoms of lymphatic blockage, I guess?
Very common in older age groups where they're more sedentary. So there's not a lot of circulation, not a lot of muscle contraction going on. So they're sitting more, they feel that they need to be comfortable and more comfortable in their environment. So they sit more. And so what they start to see is their circulation starts to, they have less circulation, which leads to stiffness, edema in their legs. And so this can definitely be a solution for sedentary lifestyle because maybe they can't exercise from whatever reason. Maybe they had an accident and they couldn't get out and do their walking or rebounding. So this can be an aid in which it can move the lymph very simply and easily, and create that circulatory response which they need in order to detoxify their body. For example, I had a gentleman when I first got a hold of the device because it's part of this group that was trying it out, and he's 60, probably 62, 63 now. Big guy, 6'4", huge. Um, but fit. But he works out. But he had an issue with neuropathy of one of his legs, so he didn't feel his feet very well. So I said, well, let's see what this can do. And I had sat him down, and he put his leg out, and I can literally pit his skin. I would press on it, and it would pit and wouldn't come up. That's how much edema, water buildup he had, and he was literally dragging his leg into the
Mm,
room. He was
poor guy.
dragging it, and I should have took a video just of the response after a simple. It was probably less than 15 minutes. I just ran it through his leg. I said, well, let's stand up, see what happened. He got up and he lifted his leg and he turns around with these wide-eyed, look and says, I have been able to lift my leg. It feels light for the first time in, I can't remember. And says, I have this tingling sensation coming to my feet. And the others that were watching in real time saw this in 15 minutes. This guy coming dragging in and walking right after. It was
Into him, yeah.
amazing.
That's a great story. I bet you have lots of stories. You made me think of something. I don't have edema, but I know, I'm a world traveler. I've got Thailand in the background here. Sometimes I'm on a flight for like 25 hours or on a long train or a bus, and I see my feet and legs and ankles become mushrooms. I mean, I'm imagining it would work for anybody. It would help with that, right?
Very common for people who are sitting still, especially on a long flight. Very common that you get stiffness, you start to get edema, swelling in the feet. Very common. It's just a lack of circulation, a lack of movement.
Right.
And so I did have a friend who lives in Indonesia. He's also a world traveler. He had this device with him, and he used it before he started traveling. He used it on the plane and for just a few minutes. And when he got off the plane, before he said he would have to go see a masseuse to get that swelling down, just to, because it was really tight, and with discomfort. But with after he was using this device, he said he can walk. He got off the plane was just fine, as if he had been walking all day. So it does aid, and it also I found we're finding more and more people, especially who do work out, who do those exercises. That another interesting thing that about the body is when you're exercising, in the lymphatic response to the muscle contraction, when you are like lifting a heavy weight, when you use it prior to like a pre-workout, like for 3 minutes on a major muscle group that you're going to work on, we found that the relaxation of the muscle prior to its contraction actually aids in more lifting. It's like they are able to do more. And then post workout, where that lactic acid is starting to come through, and that's where you feel the soreness, is that they can use it right after, and then so almost like really reduce the lactic acid buildup, and have a quicker recovery after their workout. So this is amazing for people who are workout enthusiasts.
Mhm. Yeah, any type of sport or athlete where you know that you feel the recovery can be really painful because of that lactic acid or the overstretching of muscles or whatever. And I'm already interested in for so many reasons already. um, what are you able to share with us? I know in part two we're going to go into a lot more detailed information about the lymphatic system, and you've got some diagrams and before and afters and pictures you're going to share. What can you share about this device, and how can we get it, or when can we get it? Because I'm excited now.
Well, as of today, as of this recording, January 30th, there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is that, which is also good news too, but we just recently had it FDA approved, which is really good news. And so the launch for the US market, our market, um, to go officially launch is February the 26th.
Okay.
The good news also, though, is Canada, our sister countries, Canada and Latin America, Mexico, Argentina, South America, they already have it available. And
Mm,
so I've had so many people interested in getting this device for themselves that they didn't want to wait till February. They were kind of like, oh, it's so far out. I need it now. So I was able to figure out a way to get it from Canada, in
mm.
the very short period of time. So they can
That
get
is
you can get
super
yours
good.
in from Canada right now.
This I don't want to wait till the 26th. I want to take pictures of different body parts and log and document. I'm a documentarian filmmaker. Of course, I'm interested in being my own guinea pig. Also, my mom, with her own health problems, she's got a lot of neck. She actually has a goiter, and so I'm curious, like how the swelling it would work on her, and also her cellulite. I'm sure she's just thrilled that I'm throwing her under the bus on this this interview. But if we can talk about this in the ways that we can create alleviation, like her edema and swelling of the ankles, then I believe it's going to inspire other people as well, because they know people. Maybe they don't have those symptoms themselves, but they know friends or family that are suffering, and so it's wonderful to be able to share this new innovation and how it's going to help people, because I'm very excited. Like, I do all those other things that you said. Um, I don't have a rebounder, but I do the tap dancing. I do my jiggle. I have a jiggle dance that I do in the morning to get the lymphatic system going. I know I look silly, but I don't care. Maybe I'll record that someday. Exercise. I do get massage. I do self massage. All of that exfoliation, and yet, um, I would just say, because of all the toxins that we, especially in the Western world, are forced to combat every day: food, water, hygiene products, soil, like even in our clothing, like toxins are everywhere, right? And we're constantly absorbing them. I am very enthusiastic about getting ahead of that as soon as possible, because I don't want the buildup that you spoke about, the blockages. Like, I don't want the extra cellulite or puffiness or weight gain, or even all those other things, symptoms that are worse, pain and stiffness and all that. I want to stay, as like you said earlier in the beginning, as naturally healthy, I like to say superhero healthy as possible. And so I, for one, would very much like to get my hands on this. And I know you're going to send me some information that I can put up on my website, which I'll list it right here. You can come to my website, adventureswithamy.com/wellness. So that will be where I'll start to gather everything that you send to me. So people, if they're interested, they can, reach out to us through social media, reach out through the website. And it's very exciting, Susanna. This sounds like big, really, really big.
More and more people, which I'm pleased to see now, more and more mainstream, more they're awakening to their if the more they understand their body and they function, and the more that they understand how they can help themselves, aid in that direction to feel better, younger, longer, with longevity. You can even see it these days where when I remember being 5 years old, 6 years old, and seeing a person that was in their 40s and think, oh my gosh, they look so old. They look like a great grandparent. Like, whoa, that's really old. And now I'm seeing women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s looking a lot younger. And then I'm seeing still a segment of a population that, they look, a little older than they are. And that's just due to different dietary lifestyles, environments, mental, sometimes the mental aspect of, stress and those things can cause or influence how we look. Epigenetics has been a big part of my quest to understand, how we really age biologically. 50 being 50 in my, I see it just being a number. It's just a number. I'm not really attached to what it should look like. It's just a concept. So, I would love to just live a longer, healthier, life. And then one day it's just lights out. I just, lights out. And, I look good. I remember my grandmother, who recently, bless her soul, passed in 2020. And she we had the same mindset. And people would look at her and it's like, wow, she does not look 92 at all. She looked wonderful when she, even when she passed to me at her funeral. I'm like, Mom, Grandma, you look great. Even, so, but looking, but feeling it. So I'm seeing more on social media videos. Sometimes I post women in their 80s and 90s doing yoga, exercising, doing these very limberistic type movements of their body. And I'm like, I'm seeing people aging in 90s and hundreds, and they're 100 years old and they're like happy and social and they're doing all these things. I think over the next few decades, we're going to see a lot more people.
Mhm.
It's just
Well
really
over
understanding themselves. Yeah. Yeah.
that, and yes to everything you just said, and I'm seeing some of that as well. People that don't look like they're 90 and they're living life like they're 50 or 60 or whatever that should be. They're just far more youthful and vibrant and strong. Um, Seeing people well over 100, 110, 120, I think we're going to start seeing that true health. And what I'm picking up on is this trend of people very much interested, organic, natural, healthy, getting away from all these other, I don't want to even call them solutions that are pushed on us, right? And I don't know if I can say them on here, but you know what I'm talking about. They do more harm than good. And so there's this big movement right now happening, people really dedicating and putting themselves first to take care of the whole package. We said the whole holistic package, mind, body, spirit, which I believe you need to have all of those together. And that warms my heart because you're starting to see more people, and then it trickles down to their kids and younger generations that are starting this process, far more aware and really dedicated to their own health. So yes, isn't that
Yeah.
exciting?
It's really exciting. Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share? I know you mentioned briefly affordable. Maybe we'll get into that in part two, but I like affordable. So, if I went to go get a massage, like a whole series of, several massages, professional massages, that would rack up a nice little tab. And I mean,
It
I'm
would.
looking for other ways to save, but also, take good care of myself. So,
Yeah. Yeah. We could go and definitely look into, I did a whole comparison. I did some research on not just lymphatic detoxification, but the other qualities and benefits that people can get. But they were where they would spend individually, with like microcurrent technology for toning and contouring skin and all these different elements. I can go into that, but they would be saving thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars because you need like 6 to 10 sessions just to get, that's what they recommend to get a
mhm.
full optimal experience. So yeah, we can go into that next
Let's do
time.
that in part two. But that's so exciting for me to know that I can have a device that's affordable that I own and use whenever I want to on myself, on my mom, in my own home. So I can
Mhm.
dictate how and when and all of that. That's,
Yeah, and
yeah.
your mom, even if you're using the same device, it's smart. So it's
Mhm.
only going to give you something that you need based on you, based on your unique needs. So if your mom needs something different, she's going to get a whole different experience, which is really fascinating about it.
fascinating, and you and I like to geek out on technology. That is, I'd like to go and maybe part two a little bit more into the technology of this as well if we can. So, um, we covered a lot in 40 minutes, Susanna. Thank you so much for your time, your expertise, your care, your true care for people comes through your energy very clearly. Your passion and dedication to natural anti-aging. I like to call it aging backwards.
Yep.
And so I will say to our wonderful audience, thank you so much for your interest and dedication to yourself, dedication to your natural health. And we're going to have part two out very soon. Part two is going to go into more detail on everything the lymphatic system, more detail on this new technology, this new device that's coming out soon. And I would love for you, Susanna, since you've been able to kind of experiment with this before most people can have it, show some of your videos or pictures of what people are experiencing.
I'll be more than happy to. Yeah. Yeah, we
Beautiful.
we released it. Um, like I said earlier, and other like Canada has it, and so Europe has it as well. And so we're getting so many. So there's it's been out there for about 2 3 months, and the response that we're getting has been I just mind blowing. So I'm collecting all these feedbacks and responses, and I'll share some of it with you. It's just mind
Uh,
blowing.
Yep,
Yeah.
I love it. A picture says a thousand words, and I truly believe that when you can show, I know we're going to say everything precisely to the FDA. We're going to, do all of that, precisely. And just being able to use the photos that are, that they've allowed us to share, right? I'm very excited to look at those and dissect those with you and also go into greater detail on the lymphatic system with this device. So stay tuned for our wonderful audience. Stay tuned for part two, where you're going to have more questions answered. In the meantime, you can visit my website, adventureswithamy.com. Amy, okay, I'm going to put this here in the titles after I edit. Adventures with Amy, AMIE.com, if you're just listening to this and not watching it, and then backslash wellness. So, what I'm able to share with you, I will put on that page dedicated to um, learning more and educating yourself about Lymphology 101. Anything else you'd like to share, Susanna?
Now that's it. I'll see you next time in part two.
All right. Thank you so much. See you on part two.